Hello and welcome to my channel. It's so great to see you today. How have you been? So my name is Chimamoma. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. And I'd like to talk to parents like you about things we can do to raise amazing children while meeting all our goals as individuals. So don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment below on the channel. So we're talking today about something very interesting. Actually, I had a discussion today with one of my children about consequences. Consequences are such an important way to correct your children effectively. Now, many of us growing up, what we're used to was discipline. You do something, you get discipline. But guess what? Discipline sometimes doesn't really work. Discipline is painful. Discipline is shameful. Discipline makes you feel bad. Discipline is not always very effective and long lasting when you're trying to correct an act in a child. Yes, it will bring fear. Yes, it might make them stop. But for how long? You might end up just getting a child who is timid and who just does something when you're not around. But when you have consequence, when you use that to correct children, you have a more wholesome system of correction. Your child understands that, look, if I do this, it may result in this, and they are able to learn and think through the process because they don't want those consequences. You're not creating fear, you're not creating shame, but you're making them know that, look, if I do this, then this is going to happen. So here are a few tips to help you when you're setting consequences for your children. Number one, have a list of consequences. Yes, I said a list. It's really important because you need to know the kind of consequences you have so that you're not caught unawares, because the children will do stuff and you will need to give them those consequences, right? So you want to be prepared. For each child, it will be different. For different acts, it will be different. It's just like in law. You're not going to give a child give a felon the same thing you're going to give someone who committed a misdemeanor. So for a minor crime or something considered to be minor, like maybe a traffic violation, will not get the same thing as someone who robbed a bank. It's the same when your child does different things. One act may give you more grievous consequences, more grave consequences. You need to think about it and think about what you're going to do. Also, think about the child. Yes, you have the different consequences. What will be a consequence for one child will be fantastic for another child. I'll give you an example using my first two children. Now, my first child is a bit like me, social, likes to go out and outgoing. While my second child is also a fantastic guy, but he's more introverted and more quiet. So if I would tell my first child, you know what, you're not going for that party, you're not going out because of this thing you did, you are grounded. Yes, that would be a consequence that will make him feel like, oh wow, I need to really think about this, and next time I need to make sure I behave better so that this doesn't happen again. But for my second son, he'll say, did I even really want to go for that party? You've just made his day, made it easier for him. Let him just stay in the house. He's happy to stay at home, really. He doesn't really, want to go out anyway. So you've done nothing. You've just rewarded him instead of making a consequence. So you need to look at the child you're dealing with and say, okay, this is not a one-size-fits-all situation. What may be a consequence for one child might end up being a reward for another child. So think of your children, draw a list, and then think of the child in question. And then think also of the category. Okay, so having the list, having those consequences is very, very important. So you know what you're doing and make sure it's appropriate for each child. And then also, consequences could be time-based. They could also be task-based. What do I mean by that? So a time-based consequence is that, okay, because of what you did, or if you do this, I will take your phone away from you for 1 week. That is a time-based consequence. A task-based consequence is like, okay, you know what? Because of what you did, I'm going to take away your phone from you until you correct this behavior. For instance, you could say, okay, until you make your bed and tidy your room every day for 2 weeks in a row, you've lost all phone privileges. So what your child has to do is to make sure once they start making their bed effectively and clean their room, they'll get their phone back. This versus saying, you know what, I'm taking your phone for 1 month. So whether they make their bed, whether they don't make their bed, their phone is gone for 1 month. If you are going to give them something to do to earn back that thing and to reverse the consequence, it will be more effective. So think about tasks versus time. Is usually more effective when you're thinking of consequences for your children's actions or omissions. The third thing that you need to do when you're thinking about consequences for your child's act is to make it plain, make it simple, clarity. Let them know what the thing is, what will happen. And you need to make sure that they understand it so that they're not confused, which is why I spoke about having a list in the first place. So let them know black and white, make it simple. Don't act on the spur of the moment. Let them know that this is what will happen if you do this or if you fail to do that. So next time you bully your younger sister, your phone is going to be taken from you. And I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen again. I'm going to watch your behavior and make sure you're not bullying anybody in the house before you get your phone privilege back. I'm mentioning phone because a lot about teens and older teens really are very, their phones are so important to them because that's how they communicate with their friends. They're all, digital. I'll give you a whole different discussion about phones and gadgets because it's something that is important. We shouldn't give our children those gadgets too early. So back to the topic. So it has to be something that will mean a lot to them, because the truth is that if it doesn't mean anything to them, they will do it again, more than likely. When you're not there, when they feel nobody is watching, when they feel that they will not be caught, they might do it again. Okay? So my next point is that you must be consistent. Consequences, consistency. The truth is that you must make sure it is something that you will do. Not that one day they get that consequence, the next day they don't. They're like, you're even confusing them. So when there's no consistency with consequences, there's confusion. So make sure you avoid the confusion by being consistent. If this is done, this is the consequence today, tomorrow. That's how it works. It's not that it's up and down, because they'll just say, okay, if I do it today, the last time I did it, she said that, I wouldn't be able to go for that party, and I still went for the party. So I don't even think mommy is serious. So they will do it again. So make sure you're consistent in those consequences. And to be consistent, make sure you're realistic. Make sure it is a consequence that you will carry out, that you can carry out. Because sometimes we just say things and we don't really mean them. Okay, like that's why, for instance, there's this game that when we used to do when we're, our parents used to do it to us, so parents to do it, and I never did it. I'm not trying to be holier than that, but I just don't believe in it. When you're trying to go out with your child, and you don't want to take the child out, and you say, oh yeah, go and bring your shoe, I'll wait for you, and you're not waiting for the child. I don't do those kind of things. Though. Do the one you can do. Are you waiting for the child or not? Tell the child, sweetheart, I'm not waiting for you. You cannot follow me. Stay at home. Let them cry. They'll be fine, and they'll be okay. So do things that you can do. Set consequences that you can achieve. Don't say, if you do this, you are leaving my house. How? It's not even realistic. Going to, where are they living to? Where are you sending your 8-year-old child to? So, look for a consequence that you can that actually makes sense, that will actually teach the child something, that will make them think tomorrow, okay, I won't do it again. So you're not going to say, okay, if you don't stop making noise, I will drop you in the middle of the road. Are you going to drop your child in the middle of the road? No, you are not. That is not even safe. It's not even showing security conscious, and you're not going to do it. So make sure it is something that you are going to do, that you can do, that makes sense when it comes to consequences. Okay, so what did you learn about consequences just from listening to this video? What is your biggest tip? What can you share and teach us about consequences? How effective have they been in your home in trying to correct your children? Might I tell you the truth, it is very, very effective. Okay, so see you soon. I'm going to have a live coming up soon. Do not miss it. It's on Thursday. We're going to talk about how it takes a village to raise a child. It really takes a village to raise a child, from when they are born to toddler stage, to teenage stage, to young adulthood and beyond. It takes a village, and we all need to get on board. Thanks for being here, and take care. Bye.